we open the door to a 45. Now things are going to get interesting. We got a 4-way corridor. This 4-way corridor is longer on one end, so we'll go ahead and put the long end connecting to the door since we can rotate the rooms around, and we'll get this thing drawn out. Alright, let's see what we're dealing with in here. 9. That's our famous empty. Are we going to accept that? Of course not. So we're going to check a corridor at -1. Oh, it's leaning, but it's going to roll onto the 6. -1 is 5. And I think you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a clue with the wizard, and that'll give him the 3rd one, and we can finally select one off of that list. And we can see when the character has 3 clues, your character has discovered a major secret. The character immediately makes 1 XP roll, gaining a level of succeeding, and choosing one of the following game effects to represent the secret he discovered. Well, let's see if he gains a level first. The wizard is level 2, so he has to roll higher than a 2. And he does. Now we have a level 3 wizard. Our wizard is now 3rd level, 5 max life, currently 4, and I selected to get lightning bolt. As for the secret the wizard has discovered, I am going to choose weakness of a monster. When you meet a boss monster of your choice, you have a +2 to attack that monster. The bonus lasts for the whole duration of the combat, not for a single attack. All characters in the party enjoy the bonus, and I'm going to pick dragons. This area has now been searched, and we have the secret of defeating any dragons we run into for this game, which will probably come in extremely useful, especially if a dragon ends up being our final boss. Now we have to decide which direction we want to go. There's not a lot of room left up at the top here, or to the east or the right here. We got a big section of map available here, so let's head to the west and see what's over there. Alright, we're heading to the west, and we have a 25. At 25, the corridor will end in a oval-shaped room with a door. Well, it's not perfect. Let's see what's inside. 7. We're going to get another group of minions. This will bring us a little closer to 10 groups. Oh, it's not going to be skeletons or zombies this time. We're going to encounter our first group of trolls. A D3, so we'll roll a D6 and divide by 2. They are level 5. At least they'll have treasure, but trolls regenerate unless killed by a spell, or unless a character uses 1 attack to chop an already killed troll to bits. If this does not happen, roll a die for every killed troll on its next turn. On a 5 or 6, the troll comes back to life and continues to fight. Here we go. We're going to roll. Oh, that's a 6, so we divide that in half, so we're going to have 3 trolls to deal with. We have to be smart about our attacks here, and we are going to attack. We're not going to wait to see what they do on the reaction table, because if a dwarf is present in the party, which there definitely is, trolls always fight to the death. And we have to be smart about how we go about attacking these trolls, because we have to hack a killed troll to bits with a character, and that takes their whole combat action. And we have to do that with a character with a cutting weapon. And in this case, that would be the barbarian with the axe or the rogue with the dagger. So we're going to attack with our dwarf first to see if he can take one down, and then we'll have the rogue cut it up. Our dwarf is going to attack, +1 for the level. Also, he's going to get a +1 for trolls. And his warhammer is a +1, so that's a total of +3 for the attack. Again, these are level 5 monsters. And he rolls a 3 +3 for 6. That's enough to take one down. The dwarf manages to take a troll down, And we will have the rogue use his combat turn to chop it to bits. Not a lot to choose from here. Either the wizard or the barbarian can go. I'll try the wizard first to see if I get lucky. The wizard will attack with his wizard staff, and that's at a 1. So he has to get a 6, so he can roll again in order to be successful. Oh, got a 4. That's not going to do it. So we'll have the barbarian attack with the axe, and he'll get a +1 because of his level. That's a 5 + 1 for 6. That is enough to take one of those trolls down. But this may not be permanent because we don't have anybody left that can chop it to bits. We now have to roll a die. On a 5 or 6, that troll gets back up. It does not. And I believe that troll will continue to attempt to regenerate on their turn. So we're going to have someone cut it up. But before that happens, we have one troll still up that will attack. Before I roll for the troll, I want to clarify a mistake I just made. The dwarf does not add a +1 versus trolls for attack, that's defense. So he should have only had a +2. So instead of a total of 6, it would have been a total of 5, which would have still given us the same result because this is a level 5 creature. But I wanted to make sure that I corrected my mistake. I'm going to have this troll attack our barbarian, who has... Well, wait a minute. I'm going to have this troll attack our dwarf because he does have that +1 defense against trolls. And he has heavy armor for +2, so he's defending at a +3. And he automatically fails and will take a wound. Our dwarf took a hit and is now down to 4. Here at the beginning of our turn, we will have the rogue leap in and hack up that downed troll, and we'll have the dwarf now attack, and this time I'll get it right, and it's only at a +2. 3 + 2 is 5, that is enough, and then the barbarian will leap forward with his axe and hack up this troll. And that will be enough to take out all 3, chop all 3 up safely, and defeat all the trolls. Trolls have normal treasure, so we'll roll a die and get a 4. That means we find 1 gem worth 2d6 times 5 gold pieces. 2d6 times 5, 8 times 5, 40. We have defeated the trolls. I don't want to backtrack in this direction, so let's go through that door and see what's on the other side. And I forgot to mention that that 40 gold piece gem went to the rogue's inventory. On the other side of that door, we have a 31. 31 is a 2x3 room with an exit on the other side, so we can either rotate it that way or that way. Alright, I've picked an orientation, and let's get this room drawn. And let's find out what's in there. 6. Well, that's bad news for us because we're going to have to deal with more vermin. Let's see what kind of vermin we're dealing with. A 2. A 2 is 3d6 vampire bats, level 1, no treasure. Spells are cast at -1. Well, we're not going to use any spells. And there's quite a bit of them, but they're only a level 1. And let's see how many there are before we decide what to do. 3d6. So that's 4 plus 6. So there's 10 of them. And if we let them attack first, that means everyone is going to get attacked twice. And then 2 of our characters would get attacked 3 times. So I think we will just initiate the attack and go at them. We'll have our mighty barbarian swing his axe at a +1. And again, these are only level 1 creatures, so we might be able to take a bunch of them out with the swing of our weapon. Well, not too many, but that is 2 + 1 for 3, so he manages to just swat 3 of them out of the air. So 3 vampire bats are taken out, leaving 7. We'll have the dwarf swing his huge war hammer, maybe smash a couple of them on the side of that. So he gets plus level and +1 for his war hammer. So he gets to add 2 to a 5. That's 7. That is awesome. The bats must have been flying in formation way too close, because the dwarf, with one twirling, spinning swing of his hammer, took out all 7 remaining bats. There is no treasure for taking these bats out. We're just going to exit out the opposite side of the room and see what's on this side of the door. Alright, we have 22. Well, this is going to add more possibilities dungeon, and we're moving right along now. The room is not going to completely fit, but it'll fit enough to where the door and corridor will still be available for us to add on to our dungeon. So you can see the remainder of the room that would have been drawn over here. You just cut it off when you get to the edge. But like I said, this door and this corridor were only 2 in, so not a problem. But let's see what we're going to deal with in here. Inside our room, we have a 4. This is a room and not a corridor, so we're going to roll on the special events table. Well, that's the first one of this dungeon. The special events table is a D6, and we got a 3. We have our special events table, and a 3 gives us a lady in white. She appears and asks the party to complete a quest. If you accept, a roll on the quests table. If you refuse, she disappears. Ignore any further appearances of the lady in white in the game. Well, we're definitely taking that quest from the lady in white, because if we are successful in our quest, we can roll on the epic rewards table. So let's see what our quest is. 5. Let peace be your way. To complete the quest, the party must complete at least 3 encounters in the adventure in a non-violent way. This includes reactions such as bribing, getting help from monsters, performing another quest, not this one, or defeating a monster with the sleep spell and then tying him up with a rope. I think we can try and do that stuff. Now we're going to have to be a little more judicious of what we do here. So we'll have to look at the monster reaction tables and see if there's anything available that's non-violent and see if we can go for it, because I want to complete this quest and be able to roll on that epic rewards table. But until then, we need to move on, and we will head south to fill in this big open section of the map. And through that door, we have 65, which is a corridor. So we'll change our marching order before we head through. What is in this corridor? 7. It's time for some more minions. A 6. Now we're going to be dealing with 2d6 fungi folk. Level 3 normal treasure. Any character taking damage from the fungi folk must save versus level 3 poison or lose 1 life. 1 to 2 ask for a bribe, or 3 to 6 fight. Well, let's see how many there are. There are 2d6 number of fungi folk. There are 8 in this corridor. We are in a corridor with the barbarian and dwarf up front. That means it's 2x2 battles, only 2 fungi folk at once, and the barbarian and the dwarf. So I think this is a good time to go ahead and try one of our non-violent actions. We'll roll on their reaction table. We roll 1d6. If it's a 1 or a 2, they'll ask for a bribe. Anything else, they'll fight. No luck there. They're fighting, and they get to go first since we didn't rush in. So 2 of these fungi folk, 1 will attack the barbarian, 1 will attack the dwarf. The barbarian has his armor, so that's a +2, and these are level 3 minions. 2 + 2 is 4. That is more than 3, so a successful defense from the barbarian. The dwarf has +2 for his armor. More than enough. And now they can attack. First up, we have our barbarian, who will add his level to the attack. 3 plus 1 is 4. That will eliminate one of the fungi folk. 1 down, 7 remaining. 1 steps forward in the corridor to take his downed comrade's place. The dwarf winds up with his war hammer. +1 for his level, +1 for the war hammer. Oh, it's a 6. Normally I would re-roll the explosive 6, but there's only 2 of them in front of him. 6 plus 2 is 8. That's already more than enough to take out the 2 that are in front of him. He's able to just annihilate the 2 that are in the corridor. But 2 rush forward and attack. First one attacks the barbarian. That is an automatic failure, so our barbarian will take a wound. And then 1 for the dwarf. Barely escapes, his heavy armor is +2, and that defends the dwarf. Barbarian takes a wound and is now down to 6. If I had ranged weapons or I wanted to cast spells, I could do that from the back row, but I'm not going to waste my spells right now. We'll have the barbarian go with a +1 or plus level to attack with his axe. And that is 5. 1 short of taking out 2. We are at halfway point. We lose 1 more and they'll have to take a morale check. Let's see if the dwarf can do massive damage again. +1 for his level, +1 for the warhammer. Oh, not this time. Just a 5. But that will take them down below half of their initial number, so they're going to have to do a morale check. And if they roll 3 or less, they will flee. Oh, these guys are brave. They're sticking around. Well, the dwarf did take 1 out, but these 3 remaining are really brave, and 2 that are in the front attack. First, the barbarian easily succeeds, and the dwarf also easily succeeds. We'll have the barbarian attack. Add 1 onto that, that's a 6. He chops down 2 of them. There is only 1 fungi folk remaining. The dwarf takes aim, pulls the hammer back, and swings with a +2. That is enough, and our final fungi folk is defeated. They had normal treasure, which is a 3, and a 3 gets us a scroll with a random spell. And that is a D6, and we got a 5. On the random spell table, a 5 will get us an escape scroll. When you cast escape, the wizard or whoever uses the scroll disappears from their current location and reappears in the first room of the game. The spell may be cast in lieu of making a defense roll, or it may be cast normally in the turn. It works automatically. I guess if we were done and had defeated the boss and we wanted to get somebody out for sure, we could do that, because you can split up the party, and you do have to backtrack back through the dungeon and exit through the entrance even after you defeated the boss to actually win the game. I gave that scroll to the rogue, the escape scroll, and if we don't use it, we can always have the wizard transcribe it into his spell book, and then that would be available in future adventures as one of the spells he starts with if he wants to choose it. We're going to keep moving, and we're going to head through this south door. We push the door open, and we get a 45. 45 is our 4-way intersection with one end a little bit longer. We'll place the long end going this direction to the east. And this is just going to dead end here since we're at the edge of the map. Let's see what's in this 4-way intersection. 12. We have an empty corridor. If it was a room, it'd be different, but we have an empty corridor, and we're going to check to see if it's really empty, because we like taking chances. Well, that's going to be a wandering monster, because checking a corridor is at a -1. We'll roll on our Wandering Monsters table and get a 6. Now we're going to roll on the Boss Monster table. And we're going to re-roll any dragon. A Wandering Monster may not be the final boss. I did not change my marching order, so the Wizard and Rogue are in the back where this boss is going to sneak up. We've already encountered one boss, so we're going to add one to our roll and ignore anything that's 6 or higher because that's the dragon. So we're going to get a 4, and this is going to be a problem. We have a Medusa, level 4 with 4 life points, treasure +1. All characters at the beginning of the battle must save versus a level 4 gaze attack or be turned to stone. Petrified characters are out of the game until a blessing spell is cast on them. Rogues add half their level to this save. Well, let's see. We have bribe, quest, 3 to 5 fight, 6 fight to the death. So we have a 1 or a 2 that might save us. Things are about to get bad here unless we get extremely lucky. We're going to probably lose some of our characters to the Medusa. So we have a level 4 attack that we have to save against. So this is basically a 50-50 shot because when we're saving versus something, you have to roll equal to or better than. So 4, 5, and 6, we're okay. 1, 2, 3, we're turned to stone. We'll go right down the line. Even though this is a attack to the rear, it says all characters at the beginning of battle, not just the 2 in the corridor. Let's see who survives. The barbarian, stone. The dwarf, safe. The wizard, safe. The rogue, safe. So our barbarian will remain here as a statue until we can cast a blessing on him. So hopefully we can get a scroll. And now the Medusa in the rear of our formation will attack the wizard or the rogue. We'll roll a d6. 1, 2, 3, it's the wizard. It is the rogue. She is a level 4. The rogue gets a +1 for his light armor and plus level for his defense, so +2. Oh, that's a 4, but he has to get higher than that, so he's going to take a wound. The rogue will take his first wound and be down to 3 life. Now the rogue and wizard, who are at the rear of the formation, will get to attack. First we'll start with the rogue to see if we make any progress. This is a boss and not a minion, so the rogue will be attacking at a -1 because of his dagger. He gets no bonuses to his attack roll. So here we go. Oh, that's a 3, -1, 2. That's not going to hit a 4th level creature. Now we'll go with the wizard. And now I think it might be time to break out the sleep spell. Because if we're successful, the sleep spell defeats the boss. We will cast our sleep spell. Remember, our wizard is now 3rd level. So when attacking with spells, he gets to add his level. So we get to add 3 to it. So we are going to be successful. 3 + 3 is 6. We only needed a 4. Well, that puts the Medusa to sleep. So we did that in a non-violent manner. And we defeated a boss. So we're going to get 1 success for our Let Peace Be Your Way quest. We need 2 more. And we get to do an XP roll because we defeated a boss. Having that higher level wizard really helped. But this time we're going to have the dwarf roll. And that is greater than his level, so he will now level up. Our dwarf is now level 2 with a max life of 7, and he has a current life of 5. Now when he attacks and adds level, he gets to add 2 plus his warhammer, so we're getting a little bit stronger, and we're going to need it too because our barbarian is out of action right now. We managed to defeat the Medusa, but at a cost. Our barbarian is here petrified, so hopefully we'll be able to find a way to undo that curse. But we have to move on with our 3 characters, and I'm going to change the marching order to wizard, dwarf, and rogue. That way the dwarf is in the middle. He's always part of the front 2, and he's always part of the rear 2. So I'll never have to worry about not having somebody capable of fighting, whether or not we get snuck up on, or if we're attacking straight out in a corridor. But it's time to move on, and I can either head south or to the east. Let me move the map a little bit, and we can see that we have all this area open here, and we have possibilities here on the east and the north up here too, with two different areas. So we're definitely not locked in to being done yet and running out of options, but we will have to do a lot of backtracking if we get trapped here. So let's decide, south or east?